I bet you're worried.
We were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There is so much darkness, secrecy surrounding them. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she was too busy, she didn't have the time. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You have to go down there, on your back, in front of a mirror that's standing on its own, full length preferred. You have to get into the perfect position with a perfect light, which is then somehow shadowed by the mirror and the angle you're at. You get all twisted up. You're arching your head up, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she was too busy. She didn't have the time.
So, there were vaginas interviews which become Vagina Monologues. See what we did there. Over 200 women were interviewed. Older women, younger women, married women, single women, lesbians, transgender, college professors, actors, corporate professionals, sex workers, black women, Asian American women, Native American women, Latin women, Hispanic women, Jewish women, Caucasian women. Okay. First, they were reluctant to talk. They were a little shy. But once you get them going, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited. Mainly nobody asked them before.
Let's just start with the word vagina. It sounds like an infection at best. Maybe some medical instrument. Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina. Vagina, vagina. It doesn't matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like a word you want to say. It's a totally ridiculous, completely unsexy word. If you use it during sex, trying to be politically correct, darling, could you stroke my vagina? You killed the act right there.
We were worried about vaginas, what we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, New York, they call it pussycat. A woman there said that her mother used to tell her, don't wear panties underneath your pajamas, dear. You gotta air out your pussycat.
In Westchester, they called it a pookie.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There is a powder box. Poochie, poopy, pee-pee, punani, pulali, pash, ipish.
Jody, Didi, Nishi, monkey box.
Kuchesnorcher, Cooter, Labe.
Gladys Siegelman.
VA, wee wee, horsepot, or nappy dugout.
Mongo, Mookie, a pajama.
Fanny Boo. Mushmallow.
A ghoulie, a possible, a tamale, a tutti, a connie.
A Mimi in Miami.
A split knish in Philadelphia.
And a schment in the Bronx.
Puzda in Ukraine.
It's Pepeka or
Buceta in Brazil.
Fotze in Austria.
Scheide in Germany.
Chut in India.
Moni in Greece.
Puddi or
Jai Khas in Pakistan.
In Sweden, Kisimura.
Pookie or
Backpack in the Philippines.
Johnny in Bangladesh.
Putita in Lithuanian.
Punsi or
Nuni in Hungary.
Pizda in Romania.
We are worried about vaginas.
not love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people don't like hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He thinks it's cluttered and dirty, and he made me shave my vagina. It looked cluttered and exposed like a little girl, and this excited him. When my husband was making love to me, my vagina felt like what a beard must feel. It felt good to scratch and painful, like scratching mosquito bites. It felt like it was on fire and had screaming red bumps. I refused to shave my vagina again. Then, my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. Then, the therapist, with a German accent, gasped in between sentences to show her empathy. So I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop my husband from screwing around. I asked her if she had many cases like this before. And she said, marriage is a compromise. It was so ridiculous. And I told her, this is so weird. I felt little when my hair was gone down there, and I couldn't stop talking in a baby voice, and the skin got irritated. Even calamine lotion wouldn't help it. And she said, marriage is a compromise. She was sure it was a good beginning. I just need to jump in. So this time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. He clipped a few hairs. There was little blood on the bathtub. He didn't notice it. He was too happy shaving me. Then later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no fluff. And that's when I realized that hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower. It's the lawn around the house. You have to love hair for you to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband, he didn't stop screwing around. I forgot my lines.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Glasses. A beret.
Leather jacket.
Silk stockings.
Mink.
A pink boa.
Male tuxedo.
Jeans.
Something form-fitting.
Emeralds.
An evening gown.
Sequins.
Armani only.
A tutu.
A black see-through underwear.
A taffeta ball gown.
Something machine washable.
Costume eye mask.
Purple velvet pajamas.
Angora.
A red bow.
Ermine and purse.
Leopard hat.
A silk kimono.
Sweatpants.
A tattoo.
An electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
High heels.
Lace and combat boots.
Purple feathers. Twigs and shells.
Cotton.
A pinafore.
A bikini.
A slicker.
If your vagina could speak, what would it say?
Slow down!
Is that you?
Feed me.
I want.
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah.
Start again.
No, over there.
Lick me.
Stay home.
Brave choice.
Think again.
More, please.
Embrace me.
Let's play.
Don't stop.
More, more.
Remember me?
Come inside.
Not yet.
Whoa, mama.
Yes, yes.
Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh, God.
Thank God.
I'm here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Find me.
Thank you.
Bonjour.
Too hard.
Don't give up.
Where's Brian?
That's better.
Yes, there.
Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953. No, it has nothing to do with Eisenhower. It's a cellar down there. It's very damp and clammy. You don't want to go down there, trust me. The smell of the clamminess and the mildew and everything, you'd get sick. It's suffocating, very nauseating. Whew. So nauseating. There was no accident down there. It wasn't so dramatic. It didn't blow up or catch on fire or anything. Well, no, never mind. No, never mind. I can't talk to you about this. What's a young, smart girl like you going around asking old ladies about their down there's for? We didn't do this sort of a thing when I was a girl. What? Jesus. Okay. There was this boy, Andy Lefkow. He was cute. Well, I thought so. And he was tall, like me. And I really liked him. And he asked me out for a date in his car. Nah, I can't do this. I can't talk to you about this. You know it's there, like the cellar. There's rumbles down there sometimes. And you can hear things, and things get caught in there, like animals and things. And it gets wet. And sometimes you have to plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. You forget about it. I mean, it's a part of the house, but you don't see it or think about it. It has to be there, though.
because every house needs a cellar. Otherwise, the bedroom would have to be in the basement. Oh, right, Andy. Andy Lefkov. Andy was very good looking. He was a catch. Well, at least that's what they called it in my day anyway. We were in his car, a new white Chevy Bel Air. And I remember thinking that my legs were too long for his car seat. I have long legs, you know. And they were smushed up against the dashboard. I was looking at my big kneecaps when suddenly he kissed me in this surprisingly take me by control like they do in the movies kind of a way. And I got excited. So excited. And well, there was a flood down there. I couldn't control it. It was like this force of passion, this river of life just flooded out of me right through my panties, right onto the car seat of his new white Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee, but it was smelly. I mean, frankly, I couldn't smell anything, but he said, Andy said, that it smelled like sour milk and that it was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl, he said. I tried to explain to him that it was his kiss that had caught me off guard, and I wasn't normally like this. I tried to wipe the flood with my dress, and it was a new yellow primrose dress, and it looked so ugly with the flood on it. Andy drove me home without saying another word. And when I got off the car and I closed the door, I closed the whole store, locked it, never opened for business again. I dated some after that, but the idea of flooding just made me too nervous. I never even got close again. I used to have dreams. Crazy dreams. Oh, they were dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds. I don't know why. I mean, he didn't do much for me in real life. But in my dreams, it was always Burt and I, Burt and I, Burt and I. It was the same general dream. We'd be out, Burt and I. It would be like one of those restaurants that you see in Atlantic City, all big with chandeliers and thousands of waiters in those vests. Burt would give me this orchid corsage and I'd pin it on my blazer. We'd laugh. We were always laughing, Burt and I. Laughing. And oh, we'd eat shrimp cocktail. Huge, fabulous shrimps. We'd laugh some more. We were very happy together, Burt and I. And then he'd look into my eyes and pull me closer to him in the middle of the restaurant. And just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant would start to shake, and pigeons would fly out from under the table. I don't know what the pigeons were doing there. And the flood would just come pouring straight out of me. It would just pour and pour. There would be fish in it and little boats. And the whole restaurant would just fill up with my flood. And Burt would be standing waist deep in it, looking horribly disappointed that I'd done it again. And he'd look horrified as he watched his friends, the Dean Martin and the like, swim past us in their tuxedos and evening gowns. I don't have those dreams anymore. Not since they took about everything connected with down there. Took out the uterus, the tubes, the whole works. The doctor thought he was being funny. He said, if you don't use it, you lose it. But really, I found it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? Highly overrated. I've done other things. I love dog shows. And I sell antiques. You ask me what it would wear? What kind of a question is that, what would it wear? It would wear a big sign, closed due to flooding. What would it say? I told you, it's not like that. It's not a person that speaks. Stop being a thing that talked a long time ago. It's a place you don't go. It's locked up under the house. It's down there. You happy? You made me talk. You got it out of me. You made an old lady talk about her down there. You feel better now? Actually, you're the first person I ever talked to about this. And I feel a little better.
My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, a woman who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who ran the workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth screaming with coins spilling out. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the little squiggly lines around it were meant to be people or places or just your basic atoms that got lost in there. I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles from the surrounding environment. I had never really thought of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after a careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until this point, I had never really seen my vagina. It had never occurred to me to look at it. Everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. It seemed so awkward and reductive looking at it like we were on our shiny blue mats with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. My vagina, it was unsettling at first. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody, complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so red, so raw, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me the most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came to my turn at the vagina workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my mat, my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. It was ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and the freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and close. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many of the women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, although I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I didn't raise my hand because, although I had had orgasms, I didn't know how to make one happen. It was this mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical, accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the vagina workshop. Then, the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors and to see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason, and I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me, that someone was coming to choose direction, to lead my life, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris, terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapable, dead, shut down, frigid, dry, bitter, apricot tasting, oh my God. I lay there, searching for my spot, and all I could think about was the time when I was 10 and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands through bottle caps and stones and fish and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt, I knew I'd be punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, "It's gone. It's gone. I lost my clitoris. I shouldn't have worn it swimming." She told me, Well, first she laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead, and she told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it, she said. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I laid back and closed my eyes. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched myself as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry. Quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own blood, muscles and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive. And then, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. Then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quake broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and silence, which broke open onto a plane of music and colors and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there, trashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, a destiny. I am arriving as I'm beginning to leave. My vagina, me.
Here is a vagina happy fact. This is taken from Woman and Intimate Geography by Natalie and Jay. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is a bundle of nerves, 8,000 to be precise. That's a higher concentration that can be found anywhere else in the male or female body, including fingertips, lips, tongue. And it is twice the number in the penis. Who needs a handgun when you have got a semi-automatic?
At 5 years old, I was putting my baby sister's diapers on. I saw her vagina. I wanted one. I wanted one. I thought it would grow.
I thought I would open. I ached to belong. I ached to smell like my mother. Her sweet aroma was living in my hair, on my hands, in my skin. I ached to be pretty, pretty.
I wondered why I was missing my bathing suit top of the beach, why I wasn't dressed like the other girls. I ached to be completed. I ached to belong, to troll the baton.
They assigned me a sex the day I was born. It's as random as being adopted or being assigned to the hotel room on the 30th floor. It has nothing to do with who you are or your fear of heights. But in spite of the apparatus I was forced to carry around, I always knew I was a girl.
They beat me for it. They beat me for crying. They pummeled me for wanting.
To touch.
To pat.
To hug.
To help.
To hold their hands.
For trying to fly in church, like Sister Bertrell.
For doing cartwheels.
Crocheting socks.
For carrying purses to kindergarten.
They kicked the shit out of me every day on my way to school.
In the park, they smashed my magic marker finger-painted nails.
They punched my lipstick mouth.
They beat the girl out of my boy.
Or so they tried.
So I went underground. I stopped playing the flute.
Be a man. Stand up for yourself. Go and punch him.
I grew a full beard. It was good. I was big.
I joined the Marines.
Suck it up and drive on! I became duller.
Jaded.
Sometimes cruel.
Butch it!
Butch it!
Butch it up!
Always clench, inaccurate, incomplete.
I ran away from home.
From school.
From boot camp.
Ran to Miami.
Greenwich Village.
Aleutian Islands.
New Orleans.
I found gay people.
Wilderness lesbians.
Got my first hormone shot. Got permission to be myself.
To transition, to travel, to immigrate. 350 hours of hot needles. I would count the male particles as they died. 16 man hairs gone.
The feminine is in your face. I raise my eyebrows more. I'm curious. I ask questions.
And my voice. Practice, practice. It's all about resonance. Sing song. Men are monotone and flat, but Southern accents are really excellent and Jewish accents really help. Hello, my friend.
And my vagina is so much friendlier. I cherish it. It brings me joy.
The orgasms come in waves. Before they were jerky.
I'm your girl next door.
My lieutenant called no father, ending up paying for it. My vagina.
And my mother, she was worried what people would think of her, that she had made me this. Until I went to the church, everybody say, what a beautiful daughter you have.
I got to be soft. I am allowed to listen. I am allowed to touch. I am able to receive.
To be in present tense.
People are so much nicer to me now.
I can wake up in the morning, put my hair in a ponytail.
A wrong was righted.
I'm right with God.
It's like when you're trying to sleep and there is a loud car alarm. When I got my vagina, it was like somebody finally turned it off.
I live now in the female zone. But you know how people feel about immigrants. They don't like it when you come from someplace else. They don't like it when you mix. They killed my boyfriend. They beat him insanely as he slept with a baseball bat. They beat this girl out of his head. They didn't want him dating a foreigner, even though she was pretty and she listened and was kind. They didn't want him falling in love with ambiguity. They were scared that he'd get lost. They were that terrified of love.
It's okay. This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies, unite. I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs are beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture, did we? I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on, I wished I had not. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. So, in order to survive, I began to imagine there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things like silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I grew so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of ever having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob didn't like spicy food or listen to Prince. He didn't share his inner feelings. He had no problems or issues, and he wasn't even an alcoholic. Bob wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. In fact, I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change, which I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. Then that's when the miracle occurred. Turned out that Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, I said. No, you. I have to see you. turn on the light, I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Then he went, okay, I'm ready to see you. I'm right here, I waved, right here. Then he began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I said. I need to see you, he replied. No need, just do it. I need to see what you look like, he said. But you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He wouldn't stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, Bob. Can't you just do it? No, he said. This is who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. He looked and looked and looked. He got breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and innocent and deep and wild. You saw that there? I said. It was like he read my palm. I saw that, he said, and more. Much, much more. Bob stayed looking for almost an hour. I know, it's so long. It was as if he were surveying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. I began to swell, began to feel proud. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him in my vagina. And we were gone.
This is a not so happy fact found in UNICEF 2013 report. Female genital mutilation and cutting, a statistical overview and exploration of the dynamics of change. Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 200 million girls and young women. In the 30 countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa, about 30 million young girls within the next decade are at the risk of a knife, razor, or a glass shard to clad their clitoris or remove it altogether. In half of the countries, the majority of girls were cut before age 5. in the rest of the countries. Most cutting occurs between 5 and 14 years old. As many as 30 million girls are at the risk of being cut over the next decade if the current trends persist. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, and vaginal walls. Long-term, chronic uterine infection, increased danger agony, danger during childbirth, and early death. However, overall, it is on the decline with the percentage of girls ages 15 to 19 who have been cut, declining from 51% in 1985 to 37% today.
My vagina is angry. It is. It's pissed off. My vagina is furious, and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking up ways to torture my poor ass, gentle, loving vagina, spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy? Vagina motherfuckers. All this shit, they're constantly trying to shove us up, clean us up, stuff us up, make it go away. Well, my vagina is not going away. It is pissed off and it's staying right here. Like tampons. What the hell is that? A wad of dry fucking cotton stuffed up there. Why can't they find a way to subtly lubricate the tampon? As soon as my vagina sees it, it goes into shock. It says, girl, forget it. It closes up. You need to work with the vagina, introduce it to things, prepare the way. That's what foreplay is all about. You got to convince my vagina, seduce my vagina, engage my vagina's trust. You can't do that with a dry wad of fucking cotton. Stop shoving things up me. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina doesn't need to be cleaned up. It smells good already. Don't try to decorate. Don't believe them when he tells you it smells like rose petals, when it's supposed to smell like pussy. That's what they're doing, trying to clean it up, make it smell like bathroom spray or a fucking garden. All those douche sprays, floral, berry, rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like rain. All cleaned up, like washing a fish after you cooked it. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it. Then there's those exams. Who thought them up? Seriously, there's got to be a better way to do those exams. Why the scary paper dress scratches your tits and crunches when you lie down so you feel like a wad of paper someone threw away? Why the rubber gloves? Why the flashlight all up there like Nancy Drew working against gravity? Why the Nazi steel stirrups, the mean cold duck lips they shove inside you? What's that? My vagina is angry about all those visits. It gets defended weeks in advance. You won't get out of the house. And then you get there. Don't you hate that? Scoot down, relax your vagina. Why? So you can shove mean cold duck lips inside me? Bitch, I don't think so. Why can't they find some nice, delicious purple velvet and wrap it around me? Lay me down on some feathery cotton spread. Put on some nice, friendly pink or blue gloves. Rest my feet in some fur-covered syrups. Warm up the duck lips. Work with my vagina. But no, no more tortures. Dry wad of fucking cotton, mean cold duck lips, and thong underwear. That's the worst. Thong underwear, who thought that up? It moves around all the time, it gets stuck in the back of your crusty butt. Vagina's supposed to be loose and wide, not held together. That's why girdles are so bad. We need to move and spread and talk and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that, something to give them pleasure. No, of course they won't do that. Hate to see a woman having pleasure, particularly sexual pleasure. I mean, make a nice pair of soft cotton underwear with a French tickler built in. Women would be coming all day long. Coming in the supermarket, coming in the metro, coming in the library, coming, happy vaginas. They wouldn't be able to stand it, seeing all those energized, not taking shit, hot, happy vaginas. If my vagina could talk, it would talk about itself, like me. It would talk about other vaginas. It would even do vagina impressions. It would wear Harry Winston diamonds, no clothing, just there, all dripped in diamonds. My vagina helped release a giant baby. He thought it would be doing more of that, but it's not. Now he wants to travel. He doesn't want a lot of company. He wants to read and know things and get out more. He wants sex. He loves sex. He wants to go deeper. It's hungry for depth. He wants kindness. He wants change. He wants silence and freedom and gentle kisses and warm liquids and deep touch. He wants chocolate. He wants to scream. He wants to stop being angry. He wants to come. He wants to want. He wants. My vagina, well, he wants everything.
My vagina was green. Water, soft pink fields, cow mowing, sun resting, sweet boyfriend touching lightly with a soft piece of blonde straw. There is something between my legs. I do not know what it is. I do not know where it is. I do not touch. Not now. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatty. Can't wait. So much saying words, talking, can't quit trying, can't quit saying, oh yes, oh yes. Not since I dream. There's a dead animal sawn in down there with thick black fishing line. And the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed. And its throat is slit, and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina singing all girl songs, all goat bell ringing songs, all wild autumn field songs, vagina home songs. Not since the soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside me. So cold. The steel rod can't sting my heart. Don't know whether they're going to fire it or shove it through my spinning brain. 6 of them, monstrous doctors with black masks, shoving bottles at me too. There were sticks and the end of a broom. My vagina swimming river water, clean spilling water over sun-baked stones, over stone clit stones, over and over. Not since I heard my skin tear and make lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came off in my hand. Part of the lip. Now one side of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, a life, wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. Not since the soldiers took turns for 7 days, smelling like feces and smoked meat. They left their dirty sperm inside me. I became a river of poison and pus. And all the crops died. And the fish. My vagina, a life, wet water village. They invaded it, butchered it, and burnt it down. I do not touch now. Do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
My short skirt is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication that I want it, or that I have it, or that I give.
My short skirt is not begging for it. It doesn't want you to rip it off me or pull it down.
My short skirt is not a legal reason for raping me, although it has been before. It will not hold up in the new court.
My short skirt, believe it or not, has nothing to do with you.
My short skirt is about discovering the power of my lower calves, about cool autumn air traveling up my inner thighs, about allowing everything I see or pass or feel to live inside.
My short skirt is not a proof that I'm stupid or undecided or a malleable little girl. My short skirt is my defiance. I will not let you make me afraid. My short skirt is not showing off. This is who I am before you made me to cover it or to tone it down. Get used to it.
My short skirt is happiness. I can feel myself on the ground. I am here. I am hot.
My short skirt is the liberation flag in the Women's Army. I declared this streets, any streets, my vagina's country.
My short skirt is turquoise water with swimming colored fish. A summer festival in the starry dark, a bird calling, a train arriving in a foreign town.
My short skirt is a wild spin, a full breath, a tango deep. My short skirt is an initiation, appreciation, excitation.
But mainly, my short skirt and everything under it is mine.
Mine. Mine.
Memory. 1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me in a loud, scary, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my kucha snorcher. I become terrified if I've already scratched it off down there. I don't touch myself even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water filling me, so I explode. I put Band-Aids, but they fall out in the water. I imagine a stopper, a kind of bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep in 3 pairs of happy heart patterned underwear underneath my snap-up pajamas. I sometimes want to touch myself there, but I don't. Memory. 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, he's 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home, I can't pee, and when my mama asks me what happened, I tell her what Edgar did to me. And she starts yelling at me and tells me never to allow anyone to touch myself there. I try to explain her that he didn't touch it, Mama. He punched it. Memory, 9 years old. I'm playing on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my kuchu snorcher over the bedpost. I make high-pitched, screamy noises which go straight from my kuchu snorcher's mouth. I'm taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there from where it'd been torn apart. Memory,
10 years old. I'm at my father's place, and he has a party upstairs. Everyone is drinking. I'm playing with myself in the basement, trying on my new white cotton bra and underpants, which my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, this big man, my father's best friend, named Alfred, comes from the behind, pulls down my underwear, and sticks in me his big, hard penis. I scream, I kick, I try to fight it off, but he already gets it in. And then there is my father, and he has a gun. And then there is this loud, terrible noise, and the blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. I'm sure that my kuchu snorcher is finally falling out. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mother doesn't allow me to see my father for 7 years. Memory. 13 years old. My kuchu snorcher is a very bad place. A place of nastiness, pain, invasion, punching. It's a site of mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs, and I travel far away from here. Memory, 16 years old. There is this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I tell, I don't like it. Then she tells she wants to show me something. She leans over and kisses me softly in my lips, with her lips, and puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. Then she asks me if I want to come over to her place, and kisses me again, and tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. Then she asks my mama if I can stay overnight, and my mama is delighted that such a wonderful, successful woman took an interest in me. I'm scared, and I can't wait. Her apartment is fantastic. She really got it hooked up. There is 70s, there's beddings, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decide right there that I want to be like her when I grow up, a secretary. Then she makes herself vodka and asks what I want to drink. I say, the same as you are drinking. She say, I don't think your mama would like you drinking vodka. I say, probably she wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the beautiful lady makes me a drink. Then she changes into this satin chocolate teddy, and she looks so gorgeous. And I say, you look so beautiful. And she says, so do you. I say, I only have this cotton underwear. So she dresses me slowly in another satin caddy, lavender this time, like the first soft days of spring. Alcohol has gone into my head, and I feel loose and ready. She carefully lays me over to the bed and makes everything to my vagina, which I thought was nasty before. She says, your vagina, untouched by man, smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it forever this way. I get crazy wild, and then the phone rings. And of course it's my mama. I'm sure she knows everything. She catches me always. I breathe heavily, but I try to act normal when I get on the phone. And she's asking, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I'm like, no, Mama, exercising. And then she asks a beautiful lady to make sure that there are no boys around here. And the lady tells her, trust me, there are no boys around. Then she teaches me everything about my kuchesnorcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her. She tells me always to know how to make myself pleasure so I never rely on men. In the morning, I'm scared. I'm afraid that I became butch because I'm so in love with her. Only later I realized that she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass kuchesnorcher and raised it into a kind of heaven. My mic was off. No, it wasn't. Yes.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Just listen to it. Cunt. First, C. K. Ka. Consent. Compassion. Or cavern. Cackle. Clit. Cute. Come close. K. Closed. Inside. Inside. Ka. Then you. Then Q. Then curvy, inviting shark skin you. Uniform. Under. Up. Urge. You. Then N. Then con. Snug letters fitting perfectly together. Con. Nest. Now. Nexus. Nice. Nice. Always. Depth. Always. Round in uppercase. Con. Or eject, wicked, electrical pulse. Then soft, warm, con. But then T. Sharp, certain, tangy, T. Texture, take, tent, tight, tantalizing, tensing, take, tactile. Tell me, cunt, tell me, say it, cunt, 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 say it.
A 6-year-old was asked, if your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Red high tops and mascap worn backwards.
If your vagina could speak, what would it say?
I would say words that begin with V and T, like violet and turtle.
What's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, it has a really, really smart brain.
What does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach or a diamond from a treasure I found and it's mine.
Okay. What does it smell like?
Snowflakes.
Moonbox.
Hi.
selfie. I love vaginas. I love women. I don't see them as two separate things. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I did not start out like this. No, to the contrary, I started as a lawyer. But somewhere in my late 30s, I got really obsessed with making women happy. It started as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got really good at it, kind of brilliant. It became my art. I started getting paid for it. It was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women. Lace, silk, leather, and I used props. Whips, handcuffs, rope, dildo. There was nothing like this in tax law. There was no excitement. There was no, oh, that's on. Oopsie. There was nothing like this in tax law, no excitement. And I hated those blue corporate suits. Although I do wear them from time to time in my new line of work, and they do serve quite nicely. There was no props in corporate law. There was no wetness, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouths. But mainly, there was no moaning. I see it now. Moaning was the key. It was that thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I would see women in movies making love, making strange orgasmic noises, I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that these big, outrageous, ungoverned noises came out of women. I longed to moan. I practiced in front of a mirror on a tape recorder, moaning in different keys and different tones. But every time I played it back, it was fake. It sounded fake because it wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really. It was only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to pee really, really badly once on a car trip. It went on for almost an hour, and when I finally got to pee in a dirty gas station, it was so exciting. I moaned. I couldn't believe it. Me, moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana. That's when I realized that moans are connected with not getting things right away, with putting things off. That moans are best when they catch you by surprise. That moans come from a hidden, mysterious place in you that speaks its own language. That moans were, in fact, that very language. I became a moaner. It made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. They'd lose focus, then they'd lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I started to get a reputation in my building. People looked at me with contempt in the elevator. Some men thought I was too intense. Some even called me insane. I began to feel bad about my moaning. I became quiet and polite. I learned to choke back my moan, make noise into a pillow, hold it back like a sneeze. I was getting headaches and stress-related disorders, and I was becoming helpless when I finally discovered women. I discovered that women loved my moaning. But more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned, when I was responsible for their moaning. I made love to quiet women, and I found a place inside them, and they shocked themselves in their moaning. I made love to moaners and found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was a kind of surgery, a delicate science, finding the right tempo, the exact location, or the home of the moan. That's what I like to call it.
Sometimes I found it on a woman's jeans. Sometimes I snuck up on it, off the record, quietly disarming the surrounding alarms and then moving in. Sometimes I used force, but not the violent, oppressing kind of force, more like the dominating. I'm going to take you someplace, so lay back and enjoy the right kind of force. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moon before things even started, while we were eating chicken or salad. Just casual, right here, just there with my fingers. Here it is, like that, real simple, all mixed in with the balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I use props. God, I loved props. Sometimes I made the woman find her own moan in front of me. I waited, stuck it out, until she opened herself to me. I wasn't fooled by the more minor, more obvious moans. No, 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 no. I pushed her all the way further into her power moan. There's the clit moan. There's the vaginal moan. There's the combo clit vaginal moan. There's the almost moan. There's the right on it moan. Yeah, right there, right there. There's the elegant moan. Oh my God, Ben. There's the rock and roll moan. Oh yeah. There's the mountaintop moan. There's the baby moan. There's the wasp moan. There's the uninhibited militant bisexual moan. There's the machine gun moan. There's the doggy moan. There's the tortured Zen moan. There's the diva moan. There's the CU moan. I should be studying. There's the final surprise triple orgasm moan. Oh my God. Oh God, yeah. Fuck yeah.
I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there, her husband, her mother, and I, and the nurse from Ukraine, with her whole hand up there, turning and feeling her vagina with her rubber glove as she talked casually to us like she was turning a loaded faucet. I was there in the room when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a sacred vessel, a Venetian canal, a deep well with a tiny stuck child inside waiting to be rescued. I was there when her contractions made her crawl on all fours and made unfamiliar moans leak out of her pores, and still there after hours when she just screamed suddenly, her arms striking wild at the electric air. I saw the colors of her vagina. They changed from the bruised, broken blue to the blistering tomato red, the blood-like perspiration along the edges, saw the yellow, the white liquid, the shit, the clots pushing out of all her holes, pushing out harder and harder. Saw through the hole the baby's head. Scratches of black hair. Saw it right there. It's a hard, round memory as the nurse from Ukraine kept turning and turning her rubber glove hand. I was there when each of us, her mother and I, held a leg and spread her wide, pushing with all our strength against her pushing, as her husband counted 1, 2, 3, telling her to push harder and harder. We looked into her then. We couldn't take our eyes out of that place. We forget about the vagina, all of us. What else could explain our lack of awe, our lack of reverence? I was there in the room when the doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland spoons, and her vagina became a wide operatic mouth singing with all its strength. First a tiny little head, then the gray flopping arm, then the fast swimming body swimming fast into our weeping arms. I was there later when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and let myself see her all spread, completely exposed, mutilated, swollen, and torn. I stood, and her vagina became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in. It can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us, stretch for us, even die for us. And bleed us, bleed us, bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there. I remember. Thank you to everyone for coming. Thanks for contributing to the cause, for listening to women's stories. I would like to thank our director, Annabelle and Amil, for her amazing job, who, on top of being an amazing human being and colleague, was an amazing director and put a lot of work into putting this play together. And I would like to invite Anna on stage. Anna, please join us.
Do I have a, oh, I do have a mic.
Yeah.
Okay. It's off? On? Okay. Oh. Oh, the amount.
No, that's fine. Yes.
This? Yes. Okay. Okay. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Good. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to start with a kind of lower note. I wanted to say some words about the current climate regarding feminism, which this play is about. As you may know already, the past few years have witnessed right-wing populism and nationalism backlash against gender equality. It's not a great moment in history to have a vagina or to belong to any minority group. Right-wing groups with political, economic, and social power have been cutting down women's rights that we have conquered with much effort. Access to abortion, contraception, and our strive for a life free of violence have come under fire. They have more or less explicitly declared themselves anti-feminism, and crushing gender ideology has become a top priority in their agendas, which means to reinstate traditional and equal gender roles throughout society. This backlash is intersectional, and it includes elements of racism, xenophobia, homo, bi, transphobia, among many others. But as our good old friend Michel Foucault wisely said, where there's power, there is resistance. 2017 has been the year when Chile's women's movement drove a historic new abortion law. Also, January 21st was home of the largest single-day protest in the US history with the Women's March. The hashtag #MeToo movement went viral after a tweet from Alyssa Milano sparked a global conversation about sexual assault and harassment. Women are speaking up. Lebanon, Jordan, and Tunisia's parliament repealed an archaic law that allowed men accused of rape to escape punishment if they married their victim. These are just a few examples on what women can achieve when we join our efforts. Women have an extraordinary potential and power that comes from numbers, from being half of the world's population. Change will only come from being out there in the streets, claiming what is ours, and working together with other women and with other corporealities that identify themselves with our struggle. For me, that's what builds a community's strength. Not necessarily anatomical sameness, but a common cause, a common fight. I thank this amazing cast for giving a voice to those who cannot speak up yet or anymore. I thank the volunteers, which I invite to the stage, for their selfless assistance to this project. I invite Pablo, Catherine, Hope, Megan, Joseph, Zoe, Farah, and Luciano. Thank you. Thank you, Ifra. Thanks. Our gratitude to IT Classroom Support for their patience. Sotiris, who is in charge of creating an amazing video of this event, and Estrato Cafe, who with generosity, donated 40 coffee vouchers. My colleague, Shofi, please. Sophie is the program coordinator of Hershey, and as I call her, the brain behind this all, for her constant support and restless commitment to this project. Thank you. And last but not least, you. I thank you, the audience, without whom all of this wouldn't have any meaning. With your help, we've raised, numbers are tough, 262,125 Hungarian forints, or 850 euros. All this money is going to NANES, Women's Rights Association here in Hungary, prevent violence against women. Last reminder, we are having an after party at Kuplung, so you're very welcome to join and have a great evening. Thank you all.